Today, for my impactful moment in history, I will be talking about the Menendez brothers and their whole story. It's not a very well-known case if you're not a true crime junkie. The ones that you must hear about are Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, the very, very big ones that are very infamous. But they allow the Court TV channel, which is the channel that broadcasts these trials like O.J. Simpson and the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, to be seen on a wide basis to all the public. So on the far picture, that is Eric Menendez, and this one is Lyle. Lyle's the older brother. He was born January 10th in 1968, and Eric was born November 27th in 1970. They were born in New Jersey to Jose Menendez and married Louise Menendez, but everybody called her Kitty. They were very much a picture-perfect family, but they were hiding some very deep, dark secrets. While they were born in New Jersey, they did move to Los Angeles in 1987 because Jose got a new job because he wanted to break into the movie industry rather than stay in the music industry where he made most of his wealth. This is a picture of their Beverly Hills mansion. It was worth about $5 million at the time, so lots of money in that family. Jose and Kitty were shot in their Beverly Hills home on August 20th, 1989, and were unrecognizable from 15 rounds from two 12-gauge shotguns. Jose was shot point blank in the back of the head, and Kitty tried to escape, but was shot so many times that you could hardly know it was a person. The brothers actually called in the crimes themselves, were very distraught, told the police that they came home to find their parents' bodies after a night at the movies. They were 21 and 18, and Eric was even found sobbing on their front lawn when the police showed up. They were never looked at very hard as suspects just because they were so distraught and so emotionally hurt when they were found and when they called in their crime. That is until they got their hands on their father's money, which was about $14 million. That's how much he was worth at the time. And they started to very, very quickly spend that money. Lyle bought a Porsche and a couple Rolexes. Eric went on numerous vacations, hosted so many parties, and within 6 months they had spent around $700,000 in designer clothing, restaurants back home. It was ridiculous. The suspicion of them didn't start until after Lyle was convicted and tied to a couple murders in 1988 and was sentenced to court-ordered therapy. After seeing Lyle for a few months in therapy, the therapist actually reached out to Eric as well, and he started to come see that therapist as well. And based on how they were acting and what they would say in therapy, their therapist was very suspicious of maybe they did commit the murders, and eventually got them on tape confessing to it. Lyle was arrested shortly thereafter that tape was turned into the police, but Eric turned himself in after a trip to Israel. This trial began in 1993 and was broadcasted by the upcoming Court TV network, which essentially turned trials into like a sporting entertainment event for the public. And the first trial actually, because there were two trials, the first trial ended in two hung juries, one for each of the brothers, that they couldn't decide whether or not they killed them or not, because the defense of the brothers was that they had endured emotional, physical, and sexual abuse by their parents for all their life. Specifically Jose, not as much Kitty. Jose was the main abuser, and they claimed that Kitty knew about it and just allowed it to happen. The brothers' defense, while in court, also dressed them in colorful sweaters and bright colors because they wanted them to elicit that childhood innocence and to try to get the jury to not convict them and to take their side that they've been abused, and was highlighted, as you can see, this is Lyle taking the stand, crying and very, very distraught over the questions and the experience that he had to explain. The second trial was not televised at all. The judge would not allow it, and ended in both being sentenced to life without parole for first-degree murder charges. At this time, both brothers were put in separate prisons and were separated and were not supposed to be able to be in the same prison ever. They did petition that and were reunited in 2018 and allowed to serve out the rest of their sentences in the same facility. Now again, this trial helped define cable TV and court TV, how we know it now. It was almost unheard of for the 1.3 million people that actually watched this trial to tune in and be this invested, but without it, we would not have the coverage of court cases that we do today. 6, 9.